That bakery hold is just a death trap, but we can pontificate as much as we want. We do have the game live in front of us, and we will go to round number 1 here in match number 1 between Rogue and WBG. They'll go for an upstairs hold rather than the basement.
Yeah, and that's a little bit surprising, but not really. I mean, when you're talking about your two main bomb sites, honestly, a team can go to either which one they prefer. It doesn't really matter, and sometimes it's smarter to go to the one that they wouldn't expect you to go to because it's going to allow you to mix up the attacker's operator selection. As you can see highlighted right there, we will be having Slashug playing inside of the cafeteria with some reinforcements towards the small tower, and I really like this strategy. It is a slight deviation from the norm, and a little bit more of an aggressive hold. I think it's only made possible because of the Ela, and I very much like that as well. Trying to not just have her be a new operator, which is played in the meta, but also a new operator which is played in the meta, allowing just new options, new holds.
Absolutely. And look, the question is, are we going to see a Ying get forced out? Yeti playing the Ying, but they're also going to bring a Capitao, which was something that we seemed to see less of last time around because it almost was like if you have a Ying, you didn't need the utility of Capitao, but couple them together.
Yeah, exactly. You have now 4 smokes, and you have fire arrows and Candelas. All the disruption you could possibly need when you're attacking out of the basement. Problem is, they're not attacking onto the basement here, and the first nade miss from Gun Havoc is going to be truly unfortunate. They know where Slashhook is. The second nade also not going to do any damage as it is caught by Eclipse's ADS. Unfortunate that they're not going to be able to get Slashhook out of that position, but the Candelas.
A nice pre-fire from Yeti there as he punches in through Office. The first Candela gets eaten, but that's all right. He still has 2 more, and he's also fleshed out that ADS, which if they need to use one of those smokes now to eliminate a roamer instead of using it upstairs, they have every opportunity to do so. You can see that it does look like they are about to push in from Farmlands into that den. Eclipse and Slashhug. And look at the patience right now from Slash. Yeti closing in from that corridor.
Unfortunate pick there from Eclipse onto Yeti, and as time ticks away, Gun Havoc's going to push in and trade it back onto Slashhug. That position ultimately not being rendered useless, but he didn't get a kill from it. Eclipse is still left here in the kitchen. He's going to pre-fire onto the hallway. You can see the barrel of Tranks there, just waiting for his opportunity. And the main thing to note here is the defenders have successfully wasted quite a lot of time in this round, despite World Best Gaming making some progress.
We see Tranks tussle with Avian there. He'll go for a second kill now on Eclipse, but he gets taken out, so that's a refrag. And you're absolutely right, 1 minute left to go in the round, and Eclipse is still stationed inside of that kitchen. They haven't even really been able to make a push in earnest onto the bomb site. Gun Havoc tied up right now in Dining Hall with the diffuser, and they'll finally try to flesh him out. And they'll get him. Gun Havoc secures the kill on Eclipse, and they need to fight the clock now. 45 seconds left.
And a large mountain to climb still as King George is waiting inside of that big kid's dorm, and Brian still has quite a lot of his smokes. It's just going to be a waiting game here for Rogue to stall out the rest of these 30 seconds. Gun Havoc's going to be repelling. Oh no, King! I don't think he wanted to drop there. That's unfortunate. That's going to forfeit B's bomb site control. And now Temper's going to make his way into the B bomb site, and it's going to be down to King George coming up from White Stairs. He's bottlenecked. He's dealing with 3 barrels pointing at the same direction. It's not going to happen. It's
a 3-speed. Temper makes it look easy around the bomb site, and WBG, despite that clock going almost out, they're still able to do that. A misplay by from King George through that hatch. And
I really wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting WBG to be able to come back from that. They spent so much time downstairs and then just an immediate comeback in the latter end of those latter end of the round, the last 40 seconds of the round to be specific.
It was a good hold. It just unfortunately fell apart due to what I'm assuming is just a lack of awareness at what is below your feet. You know, they're not looking. Sometimes they'll blow that hatch, sometimes they won't.
And the really important thing to note here, ladies and gentlemen, is that is the first round in favor of WBG. Now, of course, we said that already, but that's actually really big. I mean, you guys saw the community poll. It was like, what, 86% in favor of Rogue? It was pretty extreme in favor of Rogue. And that first round is a lot. I know it might not seem like much to you guys, but that sets the momentum in such a direction where you're thinking to yourself, okay, wow, we just lost against this team. We did not expect that, especially after how good the first couple seconds, well, first minutes of the round
First
went.
2 minutes even.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to be on the up end and then like immediate shift downwards. And I think, you know, it does come down to, I think, a little bit that unintentional drop from King George. He could have very easily held inside the big kids, and I think it was just a little bit of a misposition by him. A tiny mistake. Although, you know, it could have been intentional. Arguably, it could have been intentional. I just think if he stayed there, held those windows, it would have been fine for Rogue.
The reason why I don't think it wasn't an intentional play, one word, Brian. He got caught in a situation where, as the lone smoke and the lone operator on site, he had to examine 3 different ways for them to pierce that objective.
And he got torn apart.
He got torn apart. He tried to peek to block off one area with that remote gas grenade. Didn't work, and he got punished for it, and that was it. By the time George was back on site, you have to retake it from the attackers, which is nothing a defender wants.
Let's get into this round. Here we see Brian setting himself up on the west window, the main west window to the A bomb site. Seems like it's going to be a very similar attack from Rogue, but a different defense from WBG, as they are not investing quite as heavily inside the kitchen. As a result, Rogue have been allowed to establish themselves nice and quick and get themselves pushing onto the actual bomb site with plenty of time to spare. Eclipse going to be underneath the bomb site. He's going to use that buck underbarrel to open up underneath all of the anchors onside the bomb site and get any sort of line of sight that is possible. The white stairs, the top of the white stairs has already been opened up. That's very important. That's going to mean that the defenders have lost one of their most pivotal positions in this round.
You can see that they were pressuring the smoke of Yeti quite hard as they invested a lot into drone him from below. Eclipse is able to punish Tranks as he just sat unaware of what lay beneath. 90 seconds in, and we see our first frag, and Yeti taking some damage too. I would say right now Rogue is looking very nice and in good position to take this round and even us up, but as we saw last time, anything can happen.
Yeah, there's still plenty of roamers from WBG. They've got a lot of X factors to analyze here, in that they have only 1 player on the bomb site as of this moment. So many roamers, 1 over by the main lobby stair, 1 inside of the meeting hall, and I believe also 1 up inside towards Attic. That's going to be Gun Havoc right now on the outside of Attic, and then it's just down to the final anchor on the bomb site, Yeti, to hold against the impending doom that is Rogue's attack.
And the one thing that you'll know about WBG if you have followed them is how aggressive and smothering their roam play is. You give them a lot of room to create these openings for their anchors. They don't even really need to be top fraggers if they're sitting on site, because when you've got guys like Temper and you've got Tranks patrolling, unless you can clean them out really quickly, and we see here 35 seconds and Yeti still is holding on to those smokes, it doesn't bode really well for the attackers if you're letting WBG have this much ground. 30 seconds as Temper gets some contact with Avian in Dining Hall. He sits inside of Meeting, and they just seem stalled out at the moment. The smoke is going to go down, and Eclipse is going to have to push up white stairs alongside Slashhog. Avian is going to kill Temper, and right now 5v3 in favor of Rogue. Slash is going to get down, and Eclipse is able to finish off Gun Havoc there. They'll have to pick him off, but Dynasty comes from behind and takes Eclipse. They're going to have to get this bomb down with 4 seconds left. Avian will start to plant as it's just him and Brian upright. And Yeti, next to no health, knows the diffuser is going down. It's going to be awfully tough for him to get back on site with that sliver of health. 4 attackers left for him to go through. And patience is going to be absolutely key here. Great job for them to send off those Candelas, and Brian makes it easy. All it takes is 1 shot, and we are even at 1 apiece.
A perfectly executed round there from Rogue, not overcommitting to hunting down those roamers, yet still containing them. An interesting little tidbit there. We found the only anchor to be the last one alive in the round for World Best Gaming. Quite a surprise. Yeti finding himself off the bomb site in the later ends of that round. Did not expect that to happen. But you can also have that be a little bit of the attribution of to how they lost that round, because they pushed off of the bomb site with their only anchor, and then Rogue just kind of walked in. It was really simple. And we did see a lot of that, those roamers actually come up from behind and impact, but it wasn't in any meaningful sense. They got a frag or 2, and it's not enough. You need to be able to deny that plant.
They all pushed from white stairs as well, and that's one thing is they just let them pick apart. Gun Havoc was waiting for them, he got picked off, and then Yeti, under fire himself, he had to drop that same hatch that King George did, this time deliberate, to try to keep himself alive in hopes of stopping the diffuser from going down.
It's always a little bit of a surprise how much action on this bomb site that we see. By the way, going back to the same exact bomb site, this seems to be where everyone wants to go right now in this match. Rogue, despite having lost this bomb site on the first round, are going to try and hammer it out. That shows confidence right there. And I think it stands to reason, given how successful the roam downstairs was on like last time they were here. If they had been unsuccessful there, I think they probably would have gone down to the basement. But this lack of a mix-up is definitely smart. The thing to note, though, is once those roamers have died, and they will very likely die on that roam game, they need to have put in the work that they put in last time, and the anchors need to stay on the bomb side. We need to not have that rotation. We need to maintain the window control. It's very important that Rogue is able to do this. And another thing is that WBG is obviously aware of this defense strategy now, and they're going to be better positioned, better oriented to actually handle it.
We can see it playing out exactly the same. Same 10 operators, same push, same location, and playing out very similarly. Whether that grenade is going to be able to get it, but we're going to see SlashHug get very aggressive here. He's going to be able to finish off Gun Havoc after softening him up.
Smart
give
play.
His team an immediate play. And what we saw last time, he stayed and waited and hoped that Eclipse was able to get the kill, but this time SlashHug took matters into his own hands, pushed, and got it.
Again, describe SlashHug in one word: wild. So as Yeti pushes his way down this main hallway, he's going to be working in tandem with Tranks to try and establish control, again, of this kitchen. Tranks has pushed his way into the laundry room, and he's got a lot on his shoulders as Avian is trying to challenge him from that showers. This is a bit of a standoff here between the two defenders and two attackers, but World Best Gaming is the one with the real pressure on right now as the time ticks away and the man advantage is still in favor of Rogue.
One big difference last time, too. Yeti was able to give some covering fire to both Tranks and Gun Havoc as that Ying, but we see he's in a totally different position this time, and it actually looks like they might have given up
I like this.
on the push. So they are changing an adaptation in the midst of the round. Smart IGLing here, and a good call to abandon the most heavily defended area on the map for Rogue.
The question is, when will Rogue actually see this happening, though? Because they are going to start an adjustment at some point, and it's probably going to be when they see these drones coming through the main doorway in the hallway. They'll be like, all right, guys, they're not attacking towards cafeteria anymore. Let's move it back to an armory defense. But there's not many layers of actual defense right now in WBG. Actually, as I say that, this gas grenades start coming out, and that is going to stall things up quite a lot.
Absolutely. It'll give SlashHug and the roamers off-site, including Eclipse, an easier opportunity to get back. We already see Eclipse here going for the flank. So this is one of those situations where the silence is deafening. You don't see or hear anybody, and you know where they're coming from. SlashHug's going to get a kill on Tranks, and Eclipse drops Dynasty as Dynasty's able to take out Slash. Temper gets a kill on Eclipse, and it's a flurry as 35 seconds are left in round number 3. Avian pushes up and cleans up Yeti, and it leaves just Temper left to fight against 3 members of Rogue. He needs to pick up that diffuser and make a push to the site. A bit of patience. All it takes is that Vector. King George cleans up, and Rogue puts 2 rounds together in a row. It's 2-1.
So this is what we were expecting to see. This is much more common. Rogue is going to start this lead, and I think it's going to continue to climb leading into this map. I have to say, I really like the call there from WBG to change to that Armory Master attack. It's so important that they made that, but it needed to be sooner. Honestly, as soon as they saw that it was a upstairs defense, I think that should have been the initial call, the initial strat. Is like, okay, guys, they're going to be invested so heavily in cafeteria. We struggled with that hold last time. We need to take time outside of this match to analyze it and figure out how to deal with that. For now, let's just go over to Master. Let's try something completely different and just focus on it in the early end of that round. And had that been the case, had they brought a Thermite, if they had a Thermite to open up that closet wall and start to push into Generator, I think it could have been a WBG round. And as you can see the scoreboard there, ladies and gentlemen, very impressive play coming out from Eclipse to start us off. Now it is going to be, again, a top floor defense from WBG, so we have, as of yet to see, a basement on Oregon. And honestly, I get that they're losing this and they really want to hammer it out, but I'm still a little bit surprised that we're not seeing basement from either team. And specifically from WBG, I think they're the sort of team that's going to need to make that change. It might be because the WBG is worried about the Ying presence in the main lobby attack, as we were talking about before this match actually started. And that stands to reason, but as we heard from Rogue, they're not really interested in forcing that meta. They might just, but they're not. It's not something like they're really terribly like prioritizing, clearly.
No, absolutely. And we see...
I say that, but, you know, King George is, of course, playing Ying.
And he did that as well in round number 2, which I thought was ironic in the sense that he would say, oh, I feel that Ying is forced. Oh, by the way, I also play her.
Maybe he's trying to throw us off the scent. I think that's what's happening here.
He got us, so...
He definitely did.
WBG going to need to look a lot stronger this time around. And they fell apart on those white stairs as they pushed up into the bomb site. This time, Rogue, if they're able to be as quick and apply that pressure, He'll knock WBG on their heels. One thing there that you notice, Temper guarding up top of that tower, if he had the ACOG, making his job a lot easier. I know we've said it a couple times, but having that reflex sight, it doesn't offer you as long of a sight line.
Yeah, not having that long sideline from the ACOG, of course, is going to be a little bit of a hindrance, but overall, it's not that big a deal. I know a lot of players who have made that transition between the sites already, and they feel like, you know what, they can make do with it. They understand, because ultimately the feel of the game and the actual aiming aren't that much changed. Eclipse is going to get a start here for his team, taking out Tranks before a refrac from Gun Havoc. That's a nice angle to be fighting and winning there, Gun Havoc. Well done.
He gets away with not a single scratch on him. Eclipse is going to get his 7th kill so far in 4 rounds. So this is a heck of a performance from him thus far. And they've been managed to clear out that bottom floor now.
I would also argue
just
that
Dynasty left.
Eclipse isn't the, or sorry, not Eclipse, but rather Buck is not necessarily the most frag-oriented, like not apart from his actual frag grenades. In terms of kills, he's not the most kill-oriented operator. He's more of a utilitarian-based operator. I think he's just in his environment. Buck has got so many destructible walls, like this one he's looking at Dynasty through, but doesn't know it. Oh no, he's gonna overlook him. That's unfortunate. He might come back to it in the later end of this round, but Dynasty's still in a very tricky position here, trying to catch the attackers off guard.
Almost comical. He's gonna see him, and that's it. Eclipse now with 3. Every single member of WBG falling at the hands of Eclipse. And you're absolutely right. He is not typically your entry fragger and can provide that support for the fraggers to be able to do their work. 40 seconds down, a good time to get one of those remote gas grenades off, but Yeti only has 1 left. So there is going to be some time this round that they will not have that area denial from the smoke main. And with 30 seconds to go, Eclipse has every single kill so far. And he's looking to push up to get rid of that barbed wire, and the last smoke is now going to linger in that air. And does he see Temper? He does. He's going to inhale some of those toxic gases, and he's going to look to get out of here as they throw those candelas down. Soften up the wall, and he'll see Temper. He's going to go for 4. He gets it. Huge from Eclipse. And he's only got 1 left, yet he's going to make his presence known. What a flurry there. He takes King George down, and the diffuser sits and waits. He gets finished off by Eclipse, and an ace for him. What an unbelievable round. Buck isn't an entry fragger, but he can walk right in and kill them all.
Well, I mean, Eclipse as a player, he is the entry fragger, right? That's what he's really good at. He is good at getting those kills. And then more importantly, Buck is just in his environment as an operator. We're talking about Oregon top floor. Yeah, sure, there's going to be some reinforcements. For the most part, though, you've got that vertical presence from below in the early round, and then moving into the later ends of the round, you can, well, we saw what he did with him on Bandit, and then just looking up onto the top of White Stairs, then you have that immediate entry capability to get rid of the White Stairs position. You're coming in, all you have to deal with is generator and big kids at that point. Eclipse is just pushing everything for his team when they're attacking onto that top floor.
And now, because of the way that these work, they were able to successfully defend upstairs. They are now forced to go to another site. Not a surprise to see them go to the basement. Same composition. The only change, the Jaeger of Eclipse has been substituted for the Pulse, and of course Pulse on basement. They have a Ying and they have a Capitao on attack for WBG, so they will be well suited to drop.
So I'm almost certain that because of the lack of a Jaeger, we are going to be seeing, also because of how Rogue is setting themselves up right now, we are going to see a very, very aggressive defense here from Rogue. I don't expect to see probably 1 or 2 people on the bomb site here. And I think that is just them reading into this quote-unquote new meta. It's not really that new, as we used to have smokes more prevalent in the meta back when there were more of them on the Ash and Thermite, of course. But with the new smokes that they're new, they've been bettered. Yes, it's coming back into the meta. And they're reading into that, they're saying, all right, we're just not going to hold hard inside of the bomb site. We're just going to go for that roam and try and deny you the ability to even lay down that smoke cover.
Absolutely. And you can see there they are able to determine right away with the bandited charges up top in meeting hold. Bandit's going to sit up there and wait. He's got the hatch pop for him. Usually you would see an ADS up there. Very easy for them to huck a grenade up or simply get a kill through that window in Attic, but they don't have that this time around. So I guess they're going to go all in right now as Eclipse plays below in meeting hall to try and find the push as they clear out second floor, and WBG does it quite quickly. Surprising that they're taking this amount of time to determine there's no Jaeger. Just pop that hatch and drop.
I've seen from the Latin American teams, I've seen some of the fastest clears on specifically Oregon coming from the west side, which is what we saw WBG do here. They did a roam clear from the west side because that's the initial start of the round that should be on a lobby attack. And I've seen Latin American teams chop that down to 30, freaking seconds. I kid you not, 30 seconds. And it took WBG not that much time, but a whole minute, which means they're going to have much less when they're actually executing onto the bomb site.
Absolutely. Eclipse moves smartly and is able to evade that pre-fire shot of Gun Havoc through the wall just in case somebody was standing there. He did take out the barbed wire. They've gone through half of the round right now. Will juggle the diffuser. Slashug gets the lead-off kill. How many times are we going to see that this match on Temper? So that's the Hibana down. And that is a lot of utility lost right now. So a good payoff as Eclipse is going to spot Gun Havoc through that destructible wall, the soft wall, and he will shoot at it but get nothing out of it. Gun Havoc, with his back still to him, if he pokes and plays this well.
Oh, that was a nice C4. Unfortunately, Yeti was just too far away. That was based on the Ela charge, and Slashug is going to be challenging this angle. Eclipse from the side, though, with the kill in the Dynasty. Gun Havoc with the follow-up, and it's just a back-and-forth engagement here between the two teams.
Slashug's going to see Yeti, and wow, what a round from Slash. That's 2 rounds in a row where it seems like Rogue has been able to find one member to take everything into their own hands. Clean up kills from Avian and Eclipse as well, and it's 4-1. We are on match point already.
Yeah, and again, to be expected though, World Best Gaming have been putting up a heck of a fight, but it's just not enough when we're talking about going against Rogue, a team that, again, so much experience, so much synergy, and you're right, I think it's coming down to, and it's really quite interesting, it's coming down to one player every round. Now, for the most part, it's been Eclipse, but Slashug has been doing tremendous things with his Ela play. I think, personally, that this is some of the best Ela play we've seen from a player in Pro League yet this season.
Absolutely.
Slashug really definitively falling into that role and feeling comfortable there. Nobody, unfortunately, from World Best Gaming seeming capable of stepping up in this current circumstance, and this is a little bit ominous. They are forcing out the top floor yet again. Will it be successful? I really can't tell.
Well, with the exception of the first round win, it finally looked like Rogue was able to get their footing underneath them. And one observation is how stifling Rogue has been, but they haven't even really needed their anchors to pull their weight just yet, because you've had those roamers do what needed to be done, and because of that, Brian, we haven't even been able to really see Brian's ability because he hasn't been contested.
Yeah, and that's the thing is Eclipse is doing some great things, so is Slashug, but there are other players on Rogue, and once we actually start seeing them get involved, like you were talking about, I think this round might... The problem is, like you said, there's just too many layers for WBG to chip away. I don't think they're going to be able to take away this bomb site defense with how successful they've been on it in the past, which is not at all.
Absolutely. I have to question the pick of IQ that we keep seeing as well. Yes, it is good to have the grenades there, but not a lot of use out of her gadget, and
I mean, they've been making good use of her grenades, arguably.
They have. Like Sledge has grenades as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sledge does have grenades. When they were attacking the basement, though, I mean, it makes sense to have the IQ because there's that pulse that we did see Rogue using, which of course they don't know that necessarily. But I think using the IQ to clear out those Ela charges, to clear out the pulse, to deal with any of the traps, I think that's probably the main focus of IQ for World Best Gaming is just those traps. They can be extremely troublesome. And as we're talking, Temper gonna start things off with a nice frag onto Slashug. He's playing inside of the top of that tower, a very unexpected position, and it's honestly forgivable that Rogue did not check that. However, a team at their level, they should be droning out every inch of the things they're going to be pushing themselves into, including tower.
And that's one of Rogue's hottest players down as well. Right now, at least by statistics.
No more aces for Slashug.
No.
At least in this round.
No ace for him. Just going to leave it up to Eclipse now. But you can see that the other thing, too, is WBG's not been able to find their 5th gear just yet. Be it the fact that it's just been, I use the word stifling to describe the roam game.
That's definitely true.
But you haven't allowed them to get the most utility out of their operators, especially Ying. We have seen a very passive Ying play, and the Candelas, I would argue, has not seen as much play.
And then also on the defense here from WBG, they are all on the site except for one of their players. I think it's Dynasty who's roaming right now in Classroom. Yeah, he's playing roam game in Classroom. Everyone else is on the bomb site, which is completely opposite to what we saw from them in previous rounds, which is hopefully this is the mix-up that they need to get that round on the board. If they can win here, push it on to another attack, then they're going to be at least given the opportunity to push it into overtime.
And I wonder if this is something that Rogue has been able to determine at this point, as you see that Eclipse gets down and an impact grenade will get tossed. King George pushes up on the stairs to try and give covering fire. And we are going to see a Candela go down from George. Yeti's going to get a kill on Brian, and right now Rogue in a 5v3, or a 3v5 rather, as WBG holds control so well. 25 seconds left. Eclipse is going to get the first frag for them as he takes down Dynasty. That is the Bandit down, and that was the lone roamer as we touched upon. So a roam-heavy team forced to retreat onto the actual site. 15 seconds, Avian's going to get Yeti, and that is their smoke down. We did see the smoke grenades going off. Temper inside of Attic. Eclipse is going to get a kill. Tranks takes down Avian. Eclipse gets another on Tranks, and it was, what, a great stretch for WBG. It's just Gun Havoc as Diffuser is going down from King George. Gun Havoc's position is given away, and Eclipse is just going to wait, but Gun Havoc, what a shot! It's a 1v1, him versus King George. The two cores of these teams, and King George gets around the corner, gets the frag, and with that, Rogue takes match number 1.
An excellent attack there from Rogue, and honestly, a bit of a surprise there. I was expecting Eclipse to get that frag as Gun Havoc was coming around the corner. A nice pre-fire there from Gun Havoc, and overall, I have to say, an excellent fight put up by WBG despite losing the map in such a spectacular fashion to Rogue.
Absolutely. That was a heartbreaking defeat. I know that it wasn't because you don't see that screen unless it's almost in overtime, but
right.
14 kills for Eclipse. What a Herculean effort for him. And I think we can say that Oregon played out pretty well, as much as you would have thought. And right now, the viewers do look like they are correct.
Yeah, and Eclipse, by the way, absolutely insane play. Like you said, just freaking ridiculous. But let's take a look at some of the highlights from that map and see exactly what went down throughout it to give Rogue such a definitive win. Just to start things off here, that defense round was the honestly the upset. Of course, it was the first round and the only round that WBG won on attack. But it was surprising that Rogue came away from the early phase of that round with such success, and then it turned into being completely against them.
I know we touched upon it. I've said this again. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but with how good the roam game is of WBG, I think they were out-roamed and out-foxed by Rogue here. They just did not have an answer.
Yeah, and then when their roam game wasn't working, they're just like, okay, we'll just not do a roam game then. And that honestly, to me, seems a little bit like they're playing scared, and that's not what we want to see here.
Right?
Yeah.
If something doesn't work, if it's broken, you need to fix it. And hey, it wasn't until the final 20 seconds of that round that the frags started coming, and Gun Havoc almost able to seal it back for them and keep the game alive.
The cool thing is going to be that now WBG coming off of this map, they're going to take what they just learned going up against Rogue and say, all right, well, now we know we have gaps that we need to fill on this map, lessons we need to learn. And when it comes to the roam game specifically, I think that's the sort of thing that they're going to have to evolve over time. The Rogue game, the Rogue roam game, that's weird to say, but the Rogue roam game was exceptional too. We have to attribute a lot of the credit for this match this map specifically went to Slashug, I think, for that win.
And Eclipse as well. The
Eclipse,
pair worked so well together. You saw it on a number of occasions. It looked like they've been able to get Slashug, and when he put himself in harm's way, he relied on Eclipse to get the kill, and time again, he did. All
right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into map number 2, Kafe, and see if World Best Gaming are going to be able to put themselves on map number 3, which I really hope so, because that would be Skyscraper, and I always love to see Skyscraper.
It's Cafe is going to be interesting for me, and we talked about the way the strategies and the way they play out, whether WBG is going to be able to bring something. I don't think we're going to see a bakery. Of course, that's absolute madness.
We're not going to see a bakery.
No bakery.
It's not happening.
There's no way it's going to happen.
I mean, if we saw, this is a little bit of a deviation from the norm in that they're going to train and dining. Slightly different, but ultimately it comes down to the same thing.
Right.
We're defending dining and wheel room because we want to go ahead and play upstairs to stall and delay, and then we'll be downstairs. I mean, when you're defending the upstairs and the downstairs, they're played so similarly, it's actually kind of nauseating sometimes on Cafe.
And WBG running 3 operators to reinforce the idea of a strong roam game, a Pulse, an Ella, and of course a Bandit. The Bandit providing some ability to play on-site. Dynasty will play that weird middle ground where he can sometimes be on-site, not too far, just an arm's reach for the objective if needed.
And a Bandit is one of those operators that, again, we talked about this earlier, in the North American region at least, he's not seeing play in the top 5 for the last week, so this might be where he starts making that shift back. I mean, it was somewhat surprising, even despite the fact that you remove the ACOG, he did get the buff to his actual batteries, where they one-tick those drones, making him, honestly, arguably for some people, more useful than an operator like Mute. So the fact that he can fill multiple roles in a sense, then makes him like an operator that, yeah, well, I mean, let's bring him. He can do a lot for the team. Brings a lot of utility, more than he used to. And a lot of people say it's not more, but it really is so much more emphasized when you're one-ticking those drones.
Absolutely.
I remember,
of course, the fact that he can, not to interrupt you, of course, the
yeah,
fact that he can Hibana trick easier, though, too, which
oh,
is
yeah,
another
because of
thing
the
that
change of Hibanas, yeah. But also, I mean, I don't know if you were playing back then, but there used to be bandit charges would actually do like 20 damage per tick or something like that. They would kill you like instantly. And after that change, he didn't really see much of an alteration in his actual play. So maybe that's not it. I think it's probably to do with what you were saying with the Hibanas. That makes more sense. As Rogue starts to aggress into the red stairs, they are going to catch one of the Ela charges, but it's not actually going to be capitalized upon. It was just used to slow down the Rogue attack. They are going to open up into Piano very quickly, and they're not wasting any time at all here, pushing into take Piano control and Cigar control.
What a nice C4 there from Gun Havoc onto Avian. He's going to be able to get the lead-off kill here on Kafe.
I really like that C4 spot. That was obviously predetermined from WBG and well-planned.
It's their hard breacher down as well. Now, they were able to blow that wall into the Cigar Lounge, but you still lack the second exothermic charge, which is a high priority for them. King George is going to pick up Dynasty, and that is their bandit down. So playing a roaming game for Dynasty, not very close to the site. And interesting to see a Jackal come out as well. We hadn't seen him whatsoever. I know that it was touched upon last week that he can almost sort of fulfill Buck's role with that secondary shotgun now. He's able to get that vertical destruction, blow things wide open because of the changes, but he does lack the frag grenades too.
The interesting thing though is that Buck is on this, or since he's not being brought to this field, they don't have much real presence despite the fact that they have this vertical control. And I say that as Slashug kills Gun Havoc through the floor, and Eclipse starts to use his breaching charges to open up more of Train. The important thing here, though, is this is actually counter to what I'm used to seeing from what we've been seeing from WBG. This is the sort of bomb site that you can actually play very heavily on the roam, and WBG is doing the opposite. They're much more on the anchor, which is a little bit surprising.
Even Temper. The Ela is sitting on site. A flurry of kills as Slashug and Brian get Yeti and Tranks. And speaking of Temper, he's the last one left. Finished off by Slash, and if it wasn't for that one C4 at the start, that would have been a flawless round for Rogue.
Yeah, an absolute massacre here for Rogue, and it seems to be a continuation of what we were seeing from the previous map. I am really curious to see if World Best Gamer are going to be able to put their best foot forward here and actually show us something in this matchup, because we need to see it in their first play day. It's important. I mean, going on to, if they lose here, right, of course they'll go into the loser's bracket. They're not completely out of it, nope. But it's still going to be a hard road to play. I mean, I would like to, of course, I would like to see them get a comeback and go to that third map. It goes without saying. Absolutely. But I think they have the potential to do it, is the most important thing, and that's why I'm emphasizing this. They are going to be attacking onto a top floor. Now, this is where the strategy becomes a little bit more stale, and maybe, no, this sounds counterintuitive to me as I say it, but that might be to the favor of World Best Gaming, because Rogue has just been doing some crazy abnormal stuff throughout this match, and that's what's been propelling them a little bit more, I think, over the top of World Best Gaming. Maybe going into the more commonplace attack, that will give them a little bit more ground to tread on, a little bit more grip on the floor, as it were. I'm not entirely sure, but this might be what they need to get a round or two under their belt.
One thing I want to ask you directly. Temper sat on site by the bomb site as Ela for the almost the entire round.
It was a fast round.
It was a fast round, but is that a mistake of Ela's use?
Yes, abso-freaking-lutely. Beside Ela, like, just regardless of the operator, we're talking about World Best Gaming playing, I think it was 3 or 4 players on the bomb site hard. Not enough pressure upstairs, they just forfeited it. And then also, they didn't play anyone really invested in reading room. And the lack of any roam game, or any influence from the roam game whatsoever, it resulted in the attackers, Rogue, just able to establish that vertical control, open up the floor, and just kill you as you sit in the bomb site. And we're talking about Train here. Train is probably one of the most, one of the maps that, sorry, the bomb sites that accentuates that exact point.
Absolutely. But now, on attack, immediate change, Gun Havoc off of that IQ. I personally don't feel that he got as much mileage out of IQ in the previous round. Yeti is going to stay on Ying, so the one question mark that we had in regards to how well they were able to use that Ying pick, we will need to be answered soon. And it's strange to see Blackbeard again. It's been so, it almost feels like it's been so long.
I mean, it's only been like a week since we saw like
a long time.
Right, no, your week is a long time, especially when it comes to the Pro League. It is surprising to see Blackbeard, I agree. I think he's still relevant, and he's still going to allow you to win a lot of engagements. And if you feel like you're on the back foot and you really just need the extra opportunities, then so freaking be it, man. You'll bring your Blackbeard, put yourself in a position to recover. And I think that's exactly what Blackbeard is best at, recovery. And that's what World Best Gaming needs the most right now.
Especially when you find that the round is coming down to an end. He is able to preserve anything. What a play by Slash, but from above, Temper, the Guardian Angel, able to eliminate the first member of Rogue. And it looked like they were going to throw off a Candela there as they return fire. Somebody will need to get Dynasty up as Avian sits inside of Cigar Lounge. He looks to push, he sees Gun Havoc, tears through that shield and gets one for his team. We're at a 4v4. Avian in good position right now to defend against that Red Stairs drop. Yeti is going to push in, gets hit by the Elamine, and that good call out from Avian. He'll soften him up through that bar. Are we expecting a Candela at some point? He will see Yeti and take him down. Avian with another kill on the round, and Eclipse manages to pick off Tranks. The WBG push falling apart right now as they're able to drone out the Legion inside of Cigar Lounge. This is a man on the run at the moment, a one-man army, if I may.
Yeah, and it's honestly disheartening to see WBG get tripped up here at this first step of their attack. Open up Piano, take control of Piano. That's where you got to start things off here. That's where you got to establish that beachhead, that control. And they just got torn apart doing it. Not even from C4 from below, but just straight up torn apart in standard gunfights. Temper is going to even out things with KO into King George, but a quick refrag from Eclipse onto Dynasty is going to put it down to a 1-on-3. Very little HP on Temper as well as he challenges onto two defenders with a goo trap on the foot. He's not going to be able to win that. Eclipse locks out the round and puts it in a very fast 2-0 for Rogue.
And once again, Temper seen as the last man standing. Maybe a bit more aggression from him. I know he does typically play that. He can play that support role, but
sometimes.
We need to see more from him pushing the defense and pushing the attackers too. And when you are one of those fast operators, when you're an Ella, when you're a Hibana, as we saw over those last 2 rounds, and you're the last one left, it makes it very difficult, and it's not really the role that you're supposed to be playing with those operators.
Yeah, you get the Hibana, you open up your mirror windows, you open up your walls, and then you start going into frag mode. Because Hibana, despite being something that you need to keep alive, is one of the most, I think probably one of the best operators at fragging on the attacking side. You got Hibana and Ash, right? They're at the top 2. Maybe arguably Blackbeard to an extent.
I'd have Twitch as well.
Twitch as well, yeah, no, definitely. But, you know, she's also got the utility. I mean, a lot of really good fraggers on the attacking side, but Hibana is one of them, and she needs to be using that to her advantage and entry fragging if her team's getting caught up for what's remaining of their team. Now, World Best Gaming, they are going to be now defending the top floor, not trying to hammer out the same thing over and over and over again like they did on Oregon, instead trying to mix things up and stay loose. That's just the smart play from World Best Gaming. I also like what they're doing upstairs with those impact grenades, opening up a complete rotation through Piano, through Bathroom, through Freezer, and all the way over to Whitehall to A bomb site. I love this maneuverability options they're giving themselves. This is a great thing to have. They're also going to be playing pretty extensively inside of the Piano room. Now, that worked out for Rogue. Will it work out for World Best Gaming?
I think we're going to really have to take a look and see how they use these roamers to their advantage, what kind of verticality they do, because as we touched upon, when they collapse to the site, their chances of success fall farther. I find that their wheelhouse is really being able to apply that pressure, and as you can see, a smoke sitting downstairs in Reading Room underneath that hatch in Bar.
Yeah, that's an interesting roam game going on from WBG. It looks like it's to deny control of Reading Room. Well, obviously it's to deny control of Reading Room, but what's the reason there? Yeah, what's the reasoning there? Why are they trying to deny that control when it's a top floor defense? I would have loved to have seen something like this when they're actually defending the train, but now that they're upstairs, what is it going to lend them? Is it simply just to use the holes from below that we've seen before from other teams to try and deny the defuse plant, or is it something more? Were they expecting an Ash rushing into library, or rushing into library, or somewhere, some would call it Reading Room? I don't know.
And this is a risky play here. It puts a lot of confidence in Yeti. When you have an operator like Smoke, who is almost inarguably the most important operator when that final 30 seconds hits on the clock, if you're going to potentially trade that kill, it better be for a darn good reason. And that shows a lot of confidence that they have in him and his ability, and that this must be a telegraphed strategy that they've practiced before.
Love the kill there from Gun Havoc onto the repelling Twitch on the east east windows. That's a really good angle to be winning. Gun Havoc has been on fire throughout this match despite losing the first map so definitively and now being down 2-0.
Absolutely. A good performance from him so far. He gets down but not out. He's going to get picked up as well. And I think that's the consistency that you would come to expect from somebody that you know that has played this a lot. What a shot by Slash on Gun Havoc. He's going to go for a second. He gets it on Yeti as Avian takes down Tranks. Temper's eliminated King George, and it is a 3v2. What is now a 3v1. Brian gets it in Slash at 3K as Temper and Dynasty don't last much longer than their teammates. Rogue setting themselves up right now for a sweep.
And it looks like, yeah, like you said, just a complete continuation of the last map. Honestly, and I really hate to write off World Best Gaming here, but it seems like they're just a little bit out of their depth in this matchup.
It's something that they're going to have to go back, review this VOD, and figure out what does and doesn't work, especially for a team such as WBG, who are so diligent with doing their homework. This is a team that I would say probably has scrimmed more than any other team since this season of Pro League started, and they're going to need better results to get the most out of it.
They put so much effort in. It's actually unbelievable, and I think you're completely right. They are going to review this VOD. They are going to see what the mistakes that they made, and they're going to be able to fix those going into their next match. And, you know, a lot of it has to be also put onto Rogue. Rogue has been playing exceptionally, and it's hard for a team like WBG, who's so new to this, to go up against a team like Rogue. We've talked about this before, the most experienced team in the entire North American scene. And that's not even up for debate, really. They are been around since the very beginning, each and every one of these players, and I have the experience necessary to just lock this out nice and quick, as they are doing right now. So I think that World Best Gaming has potential to get a couple more rounds here. I think they might be able to win this attack now that they're attacking onto the train room, which is something that is slightly different. Of course, Rogue started with the top floor defense. And this might be where the shift starts to come. They do have the bug to open up the floor. They do have the Candelas. If they want to come from a red hall or red stairs attack and open up the wall into the wheel room, they can do that and throw in that disruption, get the defuse plant. They have a lot of options for their operator selection. Interestingly, though, they have taken Blackbeard off in favor of IQ yet again.
So back to IQ we go.
That's got to be a preference thing. It's honestly got to be straight preference for Gun Havoc. And you know, rights to him, though, because he has been the one consistently performing for his team throughout this match. And I think if he wants to play IQ, let him play IQ. As long as he can get the job done, that's all that matters.
I would say, though, that he's having a better performance on defense. So it might not necessarily be.
Definitely.
It might not necessarily be because of the IQ. And having seen a lot of Gun Havoc's performance, he started to switch off to that IQ as we saw that the trap meta was incoming, as a lot of people suspected that you would see her rise with the amount of your amount of Gersmont mines, your amount of goo traps. So, and especially Legion 2, who hasn't seen as much play as we would have hoped. Now they will pressure from above, and this is going to be WBG's best chance at a round. 1 minute in already, but you got to think if they're not able to win this round, that's going to be all she wrote, because Rogue has looked so good on defense every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. Once Rogue goes on to attack for the next round, they're going to be pretty much in a spot where they're like, yeah, we know how to clear this out. We've been dealing with this. It's not going to be any big surprise. I mean, they've successfully attacked both of the bomb sites now from WBG. There's no way that WBG is going to be able to trip them up, at least not to my mind, since they haven't been making many changes for their strategy throughout each round. Oh, see, the same C4, though. That's the same C4 that Gun Havoc used a couple rounds back, and has now been used to kill 2 players on the attacking team, and a nice follow-up from Slash Shotgun Eclipse is going to put it down to a 1v5.
It's Temper once again. Temper, the last man alive. You don't want to call it, but you're going to call it. Slasha gets the final kill, and what was a 5-1 in the first game, almost a sweep, it looks like we might get it here too.
Yeah, I hasten to guess that we're going to actually get another 10-1. We saw it from ENCE in the previous week, and it looks like we're going to see it again here from Rogue against World Best Gaming.
I think it speaks to 2 things, and we did slowly get into this. We might need a rehost now if Yeti is unable to reconnect.
It's possible that we will be having I believe we'll be having a rehost here very quickly, just so that World Best Gaming can get themselves more oriented and establish themselves in a way that they're going to be like, okay, well, we got everyone on the board, you know, 5v5, and not going to be playing it out as a 4v5. That'd be honestly really boring.
Now, this is going to give a breather to both teams, though. It's unfortunate when connection issues and this sort of stuff happen, but it allows them both to take a moment to breathe and really take stock of what's happened.
And I wouldn't say that. Honestly, it's good for WBG.
This is better for WBG.
They really need this breather. This is extremely important that they're actually allowed to go back. Okay, guys, Whew, what is happening here? We are getting demolished. How can we change this right now? They need to establish some sort of new strategy, whether it be one specific attack onto this bomb site or that bomb site, or one specific defense on this bomb site or that bomb site. Either way, they need to have something to grasp onto and be like, okay, this gives us hope. We can make this work. We've seen this work in the past. Let's execute this. They need that time.
One thing that I noticed in the last round in particular was it was a very concentrated push from Red Stairs. And there was 4 members of WBG there. That first Nitro cell from King George took out 2 of them. Right then and there, your team now is scrambling to replace the utility and the use of those operators. When it's a 5v3 at that point, we saw Rogue's roamers push up and collapse on that site, and were able to get 1 frag and then another, which left Temper, who was the last man up there, to almost kamikaze his way into the site. And at that point, unless you're going against a very uncoordinated team, it's going to be almost impossible to breach a well-coordinated 5-man defense as one.
Yeah, I think I can describe this match in 5 words. It's Rogue, no fear, and World, fear. Tons of fear, all the fear. They've got, like, it's normally in a match like this, there's a lot of stakes, right? This is an important match. It is going to, if Rogue can win this, they're going to put themselves in a much more comfortable spot to push themselves into the playoffs, and then probably later to the LAN. I think we all expect Rogue to go to this season's finals.
Or at least compete for it.
Or at least compete for it.
Now that there's 2 spots, it's going to be a lot more competitive.
That's true. But yeah, usually it's about a 50-50 split between the 2 teams. They're like, okay, well, these guys can do this and these guys can do that. And they're looking at each other, and it can shift. The momentum can shift through each round based upon who wins. But despite the fact that World Best Gaming, the only round they won was the very first round.
Of the very first map.
Despite that very first round, the very first map going in favor of World Best Gaming, they still very clearly had much more fear, and they couldn't shift the momentum in their favor, and it really is disheartening to see. I think that if World Best Gaming were playing their game, then they would be doing a lot better right now, but it just seems like they're just getting scared and playing a little bit too slow, a little bit too passive, not forcing out that control, because like you were talking about on that last round that we just saw, Rogue, they got the C4 kill, and they're like, okay, they're getting torn apart. Everybody just go. And it wasn't calculated. It wasn't thought about. It was just like, okay, I'm going to go get some frags. Yeah. That's all that was. And it's hard to say that. It really is disheartening as well. But it's just World Best Gaming not forcing themselves to make the plays that they know they can make.
A good comparison, I would say, is take a look at Elevate, the team that we're going to see in the next matchup when it does come. They came to Gamescom and they came to LAN. A lot of people wrote them off and expected they're not going to go very far. Well, spoiler alert, if you didn't watch, of course they made it to the finals against Penta. A lot of people thought that their strategy wouldn't translate well to these teams that were very well prepared because they played such an aggressive style, but they got matched up against teams that they were able to play their game better than they were. And Rogue, a team that is very smart, a methodical team that can make these adaptations on the fly, is basically taking the WBG playbook and saying, yeah, let's do that too. And I don't think WBG has an answer for it right now.
Yeah, that C4 from King George, again, it
was Gun Havoc.
Gun Havoc.
A couple rounds earlier.
Yeah, and I honestly think that might just be sort of the thing that's like reflected in the entire North American meta. Like a lot of different teams are going to be doing something like that. But still, that also begs the question is like, why wasn't WBG ready and prepared for that C4, given that they utilize it in their own strategy? Why would they not think to themselves when they're pushing in to Piano, okay, we can't linger on Piano Bar, because if we linger on Piano Bar, we're going to get C4'd from below because we know there's a mirror there. So let's go ahead and push all the way into Piano. Let's commit. And that's what Rogue has been doing for the most part. When they see a problem like a C4 going in a specific spot, they just walk past that. They would have ran into Piano, established that control, taken the fight with the guy playing at corner, Pixel Corner, and they probably would have won that fight.
Yes.
But what we're seeing from WBG is just like, it's unfortunate because they know. I know they know. They're aware of that. They're just not able to act on their thoughts.
They had no pressure on that second level. They did not commit any resources whatsoever to the second level. And when you've got 4 of them hard dropping, you telegraph your move. When you blow that hatch, you know at some point you're going to drop and you're going to take out that wall that divides you between Cigar Lounge. As I say this, though, we are still on match point. We're going to go back to Kafe Dostoyevsky, and we're going to see if the conclusion is upon us.
And loading into the map, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be Rogue starting on attack, of course, as that is where they left themselves off. WBG starting on defense. We'll see exactly what the bomb sites are. It looks like it's going to be Fireplace, Hall, Mining Room for WBG. Now, they have been wholly unsuccessful on this entire map for defense. Thus far, it is, of course, a 4-0. So World Best Gaming can go wherever they please. But they have had the best... I want to say they've had the best luck on the middle floor, but they haven't had any luck at all on this entire map. I think the reason they're going to this middle floor is because they have a couple tricks up their sleeve that they can utilize on this floor that they know will give them a direct advantage without actually taking any direct fights, such as that C4.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be watching to see how Temper plays in particular. Now, one of the last people to die every single round, we saw that his Ella did stay on site. I wonder if that's something they're going to look at and say,
yeah, I need
more mobile.
I completely agree. I need Temper to actually be more present in the fighting. And if he roams this time, not because he did roam last time they defended the train room. He was roaming, and then he came back to the bomb site like immediately. Absolutely. He fell off that top floor. He didn't even try to contest. And I need him, I really, really would like to have him just kind of stay up inside Cocktail, stay over by the white hallway, and try to just have a presence as a roamer before defaulting back to the bomb site, because that's what World Best Gaming needs right now.
Did we just see a 360 hatch pop?
It's entirely possible.
Slash
again,
looked like it.
Slash Oak is wild, man. That's what
wild.
he do. He just do what he do.
Once again, we're going to see the drop onto those red stairs, and right now it doesn't look like a lot of presence from WBG in that area whatsoever. But the patience now as they wait, and we can see they are playing, like we said before, a very defense-heavy, very site-heavy presence. Ideally hoping that as Rogue collapses on that site, they're going to be able to get a couple more frags more reliably than they would when they are on the run.
They've got slightly more roamer presence, but again, I talked about this, is this bomb site, the one that WBG is on right now, the train, wheel room, dining table, is probably one of the most roamer-friendly bomb sites on this entire map, as opposed to the top floor. As I say that, of course, Brian is going to take out a Dynasty, and that's going to be a good start for Rogue already, and that looks like the beginning of the end here for World Best Gaming.
Never say never, because we did see a similar set of circumstances. WBG did appear to have a commanding lead at one point. They were up 5v3 on Oregon, still ended up losing the round. And a nice C4 from Tranks on Eclipse. That's a high priority target. That is their Twitch down and one of the top fraggers on Rogue as well. And yes, it is a very delayed refrag, but nonetheless, still able to even the odds. 4v4 with just over a minute to go in what is our penultimate round. It is match point still. And if this round goes in favor of Rogue, that's it.
Yeah, I think that if WBG's roamers, of which they have 2 right now, are able to actually influence the push when it comes from Rogue, that is going to be what spells out that continuation of this map. And I really sincerely hope that they're able to do that. I think they have what it takes.
I just want to see a more even contest right now. It's impressive to see a play like this from Rogue, but you always want, and the viewer I would assume almost always wants, as spirited a contest as possible. It's the most entertaining,
right,
and it gives us more to cast as well.
Much more interesting things to analyze, to be specific for me. But yeah, 30 seconds to go, and Rogue, they're the ones now being stalled out, quite to this my personal surprise here, as WBG has put up a line in the sand, and they have been holding quite well. 20 seconds as Brian pushes in.
Now, we're going to see him go in through Dining Hall, and he's going to try to soften up Gun Havoc now as he hits the site. Tranks is going to come around that corner, but Brian around the banister sees him. Yeti is down on site, and Gun Havoc goes down as well, and it's just Temper left still standing. He's going to have to come up and push onto Slash. He tries to get a shot off. He might actually get it. That's Diffuser down, and a big clutch from Temper as WBG finally gets on the board, and it couldn't come at a better time.
That was exactly what needed to happen for WBG. Such a I want to say turnaround. They still have a lot to do, but that was perfectly timed there from Temper. And we're ranting on Temper, we're hating on Temper, and this is the play that he needed to make. Perfect comeback there, definitely making up for anything he could have done wrong in the previous rounds of this match. Those
are the sort of plays that we know that WBG is capable of, and if we don't see more like that, we're still going to stay on match point for at least 3 more rounds. WBG is going to need that, and Temper, being the last one still alive, was able to come in with the clutch there. As we know, he can be a very consistent player, and like I said, it really couldn't come at a more opportune time for his team.
Now the big question, and it's the question, of course, we've been asking ourselves throughout this entire match, will World Best Gaming be able to continue this streak? Streak. Will they be able to push themselves into more round wins? That is all it comes down to. They have a lot more to do. 3 rounds to win to get it into overtime. And then once they get there, of course, they need to make it another 2 rounds. And then a whole nother map. But can they do it? We'll see. They are going to be attacking onto a top 4 defense from Rogue. Of course, Rogue has been woefully successful on their defenses so far, as most of their attacks as well. And again, just real quick, not taking anything away from Temper there, but why Rogue lost that last round, their fault. They spent way too much time hunting down those roamers that almost didn't exist on the top floor, and then once they had those roamers killed off, then they couldn't deal with the roamers inside of reading room at all. They just stalled out, hopefully and truthfully. And I think part of that actually might be to the fact that Twitch got taken out early in the round through the floor by that C4, because that denied her using her breaching charges, which forced then Jackal, the primary roamer hunter, to spend a bunch of time opening the floor with his shotgun instead of hunting down the roamers. So I think that was just a really well-timed C4 from World Best Gaming that allowed them to stall out the round and thus resulted in Rogue losing it.
And I want to say the only thing that kept that as close as it was the one member that we have seen probably the least of just because of the way Rogue has been playing. Not that he's been playing poorly, but Brian. That Hibana able to come in through next to reading room in that corridor in towards train. He was able to get 2 very opportune kills there, especially on site. And that was able to allow his team to push.
That's actually really unfortunate.
We are just going to see a bevy of smokes and a hot drop down as Yeti's going to drop right in. We are finally seeing a strategy, and Temper continuing a strong play. He gets slash hugged down, and we can see the diffuser going down. They are too preoccupied. Avian a kill on Temper, refrag from Dynasty. And that is a Glaz kill, for the first time that we've seen all day. But the diffuser goes down, and I don't even think Rogue knew that. Eclipse gets Gun Havoc and Yeti grab Eclipse and Avian, and it's just King George versus 3. There's a lot of life left in WBG, it seems, and could that have been the spark last round from their former IGL Temper to get them back in the game?
That was an excellent strategy call, whoever made it there, to just drop through the skylight immediately, use the Candelas, use the smokes for the disruption, and it looks like King George is going to be finished off as he reloads, not checking that cigar little corner there. That's unfortunate. Either way, it really is all down to WBG. That was their round through and through, and you have to attribute them all of the credit. That was well executed, and I hope we see more strats like that from them in the future. Now, Rogue, they got caught a little bit off guard, I'm sure, by that. The assertiveness of WBG was a little bit something we haven't seen throughout the rest of this match. So Rogue is now, I think, going to be gearing themselves up, saying, okay, we're not doing overtime. This isn't happening. So lock it down, Rogue, go into overdrive mode, and deny World Best Gaming that overtime is probably going to be their main dialogue happening in comms right now.
One of those things where you take the IGL or the captain, the most seasoned vet, who's saying, all right, let's calm it down. We still got this. There's still a lot left to play.
Right.
This is the make or break round right now. If you provide WBG all that lane to take this round and come back after this rehost, I know you said that it was WBG who would benefit the most from this, but when you've got a calming presence like Gun Havoc, who's saying, all right, guys, we've been here, we can do this, let's just focus and do what we want, we saw exactly that.
That's something I can say about WBG, and we've talked about it a little bit before, is that they are all friends. It's a similar story to the Continuum team. Continuum, a whole bunch of friends that enjoy each other's company. It's the same thing with WBG. So they are one of the teams that are going to be very definitely capable of actually giving you this comeback, because they're not going to be crawling down each other's throats going, oh my god, you made this huge mistake, you're terrible, blah, 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 you got to stop doing that, this or that. They're going to be focused on, okay, well, we've been losing, and we can make this work, so let's do this instead. And that's a really good thing that not a lot of teams actually have. A surprising amount of Pro League teams don't. So yeah, World Best Gaming hopefully have that potential to make the comeback, and they are going to be defending the top floor to do it. Now, I would say top floor is probably a little bit more in the command of the defenders, or despite the fact that the minor change to the skylight, I don't think that's influenced the meta too much. Although I say that WBG did use that awesome skylight strategy on the last round, so we'll see.
Touching on the camaraderie aspect that I think does get underplayed in these competitive style of sports, WBG is almost always queued together.
Yeah.
It's almost like a family or a brotherhood to them, and you'll find if you watch the Twitch streams or if you are in the Discords, you'll see that the other pro teams, they'll play together to scrim, but they often draw a line at that. And in such a case as this, having that that friendship and that genuine connection helps build a foundation for a strong team, and right now, it's what allows them to dig deep as Yeti gets leadoff kill on Slash Hug, but King George picks off Temper. Those are 2 beautiful headshots in a row, so we are still at 4-4. The Jackal goes down as well as the Jaeger. Dynasty's going to get a kill on Avian, and WBG looking full of life. I say that right as Eclipse gets a kill on Dynasty to keep us at 3-3, and he'll soften up that wall just inside of the bar stock room.
This is the match that we wanted to see from WBG. Back and forth, and the round starts to stall off here. They might not be winning this round outright, but they are definitely putting up a fight, which they just honestly haven't been for previous rounds in this map and series.
And they're positioned good for a late rush as well. You can see Gun Havoc there surveilling that skylight to know that if somebody's going to drop, presuming they've already dropped through red, which they have, if somebody's going to drop skylight, you've got somebody there.
Here you can see, though, Rogue utilizing the highways made by WBG. Meanwhile, Brian going to be taking out Tranks, and now it is going to be in the favor of Rogue in terms of man count. And positioning as well, as they have control over this freezer.
And they do have the diffuser, Brian with a sliver of life. Gun Havoc is going to come in, and he sees Brian, he takes him down, Eclipse still sitting there. That's a good kill from him, a nice refrag. But that is the diffuser down, and Yeti, the smoke, the last man left. King George will drop, he sees him, that's a good shot. And it's all up to Eclipse to grab that diffuser and start the plant. 20 seconds left. This could be the final round. Yeti waits, Eclipse finally has that diffuser, starts to plant, the audio cue goes down, Eclipse smartly stops, and who's gonna peek first? He sees it and Eclipse finishes it off. WBG goes home, or at least out of the round, and Rogue, a strong play, and what looked like WBG could mount a comeback. Rogue is gonna move on to the winner's bracket.
Yeah, it is, again, what we expected to see, but I really have to say I love that World Best Gaming put up a fight towards the end there. I just wish it could have been from the get-go. Now the Rogue with that 2-0, a swift win on Oregon and Kafe, 5-1, 5-2, only 3 rounds going in the favor of World's Best Gaming.